The Whispering Pines. The night was thick with darkness as Sarah and Jackson made their way deeper into the remote, dense forest. Moonlight filtered through the dense canopy of trees, casting eerie shadows that seemed to dance with malevolent intent. The air was heavy with humidity, and the silence was oppressive, broken only by the crunch of leaves under their boots. Sarah, a fearless biologist with a penchant for exploring the unknown, led the way with a determined stride. Her flashlight cut through the inky blackness, revealing gnarled tree roots and the twisted undergrowth. Jackson, the skeptical journalist who had reluctantly agreed to accompany her, trailed behind, his skepticism steadily giving way to unease. As they ventured further into the woods, Sarah's excitement was palpable. She had heard rumors of cryptid sightings in this very forest, creatures said to be the stuff of nightmares. She had spent months researching these legends and was convinced that the evidence was here, waiting to be discovered. But the forest had other plans. As the minutes turned into hours, the atmosphere grew increasingly unnerving. The trees seemed to close in around them, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. Sarah and Jackson began to hear faint, chilling whispers that seemed to come from the very trees themselves. The whispers were elusive, like the softest of sighs, impossible to pinpoint. "What's that?" Jackson whispered, his voice trembling. He shone his flashlight toward a cluster of trees, but the source of the whispers remained elusive. "I don't know," Sarah replied, her excitement now tinged with apprehension. "But we're getting closer. I can feel it." They followed the eerie whispers deeper into the forest, their hearts pounding in their chests. It was then that they stumbled upon it, a set of strange footprints in the soft forest floor. They were unlike any tracks they had ever seen, a bizarre blend of animal and human features. Jackson knelt down, his fingers tracing the peculiar indentations. What kind of creature could make these? He wondered aloud. Sarah examined the footprints, her mind racing. "I'm not sure, but this is exactly what we've been looking for. We need to keep going." With newfound determination, they pressed on, the whispers growing more insistent, as though beckoning them deeper into the forest's heart. Eventually, the trail led them to a small clearing, where an old, weathered cabin stood, barely visible through the thick foliage. As they approached the cabin, they were startled by the sudden appearance of an enigmatic figure. Old Man Tom, as he introduced himself, was a hermit who had lived in these woods for decades. His gnarled face and piercing eyes held a wisdom that seemed to stretch beyond time. "You shouldn't be here," Old Man Tom warned, his voice a low, raspy whisper. Sarah stepped forward, her curiosity overcoming her fear. "We're here to investigate the cryptids, the creatures rumored to dwell in these woods. Do you know anything about them?" Old Man Tom's eyes narrowed, and he let out a weary sigh. "There are things in these woods that are best left undisturbed. But if you must know, there's a guardian here, a guardian and a curse." The old man's words sent shivers down their spines. He recounted tales of a terrifying forest entity that protected these woods, a creature born from myth and madness. It was said that this guardian could manipulate reality itself, and those who sought to uncover its secrets were doomed to face its wrath. As the night wore on, Sarah and Jackson listened to Old Man Tom's unsettling stories, their sense of dread intensifying with each passing moment. But they were determined to uncover the truth, to capture evidence of the cryptid that had haunted their dreams for so long. With Old Man Tom reluctantly as their guide, they delved even deeper into the forest, their flashlights piercing the darkness like beacons of defiance. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, as though the very trees were urging them to turn back. And then they saw it, a grotesque, shadowy figure looming before them, a nightmarish fusion of human and beast, its eyes glowing with malevolence. It was the guardian of the woods, the very creature they had come to find. Their hearts pounded in their chests as they confronted the entity, their terror threatening to consume them. It moved with unnatural speed, a blur of darkness and rage, and it seemed to exist on the very cusp of reality itself. In a final, heart-pounding confrontation, Sarah and Jackson fought for their lives against the relentless guardian of the woods. Their flashlights flickered, casting erratic beams of light that revealed glimpses of the creature's grotesque form. With every ounce of strength and determination, they pushed back against the cryptid, refusing to be mere victims of its curse. The guardian howled in anguish as the first light of dawn began to break through the trees, its power waning with the fading darkness. And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the guardian of the woods vanished into the early morning mist, leaving behind a sense of eerie calm. Sarah and Jackson, battered and shaken, knew that they had witnessed something beyond the realm of human understanding. As they made their way back to the cabin, they couldn't help but wonder if the cryptid they had encountered was a guardian or a harbinger of doom. One thing was certain, the line between myth and reality had blurred in those deep, remote woods, and they had glimpsed a truth more terrifying than anything they had ever imagined. The Unseen Predator. The full moon hung low in the fog-shrouded sky, casting an eerie glow over the ancient forest. Its silver light filtered through the dense canopy of ancient trees, creating shifting patterns of shadow and illumination on the forest floor. A heavy mist clung to the underbrush, muffling the sounds of the night and adding to the sense of isolation that hung in the air. Emma, a nature photographer with a passion for capturing the beauty of the wild, crouched low among the ferns, her camera poised and ready. Max, her skeptical friend, stood nearby, arms crossed and eyes darting around nervously. They had ventured deep into the heart of the forest, hoping to capture rare images of elusive wildlife under the ethereal light of the full moon. As the minutes turned into hours, Emma's determination was unwavering. Her camera shutter clicked softly, capturing the serene beauty of a deer as it grazed among the trees. But Max's unease grew with each passing moment. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone in the ancient woods. Are you sure about this? Max finally spoke up, his voice tinged with anxiety. This place gives me the creeps. There's something not right about it. Emma glanced up from her camera, a hint of frustration in her eyes. Max, you worry too much. This is the perfect opportunity to capture some incredible shots. Just relax and enjoy the beauty of the forest. Max reluctantly nodded but kept his senses on high alert. As they continued their expedition, he couldn't help but notice strange symbols carved into the trees. Symbols he couldn't decipher, etched in a language long forgotten. Emma, take a look at this, Max called out, pointing to one of the cryptic symbols. What do you think these markings mean? Emma joined Max by the tree, studying the symbols with a furrowed brow. I have no idea. Maybe they're just old carvings from past visitors. But Max couldn't shake the feeling that they were somehow significant, that they held a deeper, ominous meaning. As he examined the symbols, a chilling sensation crept over him, as if an icy breath were whispering against the nape of his neck. Did you feel that? Max asked, his voice quivering. Emma looked at him, puzzled. Feel what? Max shook his head, unable to put his unease into words. Never mind. Let's just keep moving. They ventured further into the forest, but Max's anxiety deepened. He had the uncanny sensation of being watched, of unseen eyes fixed upon him. And then, as they reached a particularly dense thicket of trees, the invisible presence closed in around them. Emma, Max hissed, we need to leave, now. But before they could react, a bone-chilling breath brushed against the back of Max's neck, causing his skin to crawl. He spun around, but there was nothing there, just the dense fog and the ancient trees. Panic gripped Max as he stumbled backward, his heart pounding in his chest. We're not alone, Emma. Something's here with us. Emma's eyes widened with alarm, and she lowered her camera, finally sensing the fear in Max's voice. Okay, let's go back to the car. But as they turned to leave, a deep, guttural growl rumbled through the forest, freezing them in their tracks. The unseen predator had revealed itself, and it was closing in on them. They broke into a run, branches and thorns scratching at their skin as they fled through the dense underbrush. The creature pursued them, its chilling breath hot on their necks. It was invisible, impossible to see, but its presence was all too real. In their frantic flight, they stumbled upon a small, weathered cabin hidden deep within the forest. It was the residence of Elias, a reclusive forest ranger known for his knowledge of the woods and its secrets. Desperation forced them to seek shelter within. Elias greeted them with a mixture of surprise and concern. He listened intently as they recounted their harrowing encounter with the unseen predator. Elias's face grew grim as they spoke, and he nodded gravely. You've encountered the forest's guardian, Elias explained, his voice filled with dread. An ancient and malevolent entity that can only be sensed by the chilling breath it exhales. It is said to protect the forest from intruders. Max and Emma exchanged worried glances. Can you help us? Emma asked. Elias hesitated for a moment before nodding. I can try, but you must do exactly as I say if you want to survive this night. As the full moon continued to cast its eerie glow, Elias shared his knowledge of the unseen predator. He explained that the creature was a part of the forest itself, an entity that had existed since time immemorial. It could manipulate the very air, making itself invisible to the naked eye. Their only chance of survival, Elias said, was to trick the predator into revealing itself. He handed them small vials of a special powder, a mixture of herbs and substances that could disrupt the creature's ability to remain hidden. With trembling hands, Max and Emma applied the powder to themselves, their hearts racing as they awaited the unseen predator's next move. And then it came, a cold, chilling breath on the back of their necks, closer than ever before. Max and Emma exchanged a nervous glance before simultaneously turning to face the source of their terror. As the creature's invisibility wavered, it revealed its grotesque form, a nightmarish fusion of human and beast, its eyes glowing with malevolence. Max and Emma held their breath, cameras at the ready, and captured images that defied belief. The creature howled in agony as the powder disrupted its cloaking ability. It thrashed and snarled, its form flickering in and out of existence. But Max and Emma continued to snap photos, documenting the creature's existence for the world to see. Finally, with one last wail of defeat, the unseen predator retreated into the depths of the forest, vanishing into the darkness from which it had come. Max and Emma collapsed to the forest floor, their hearts still pounding with adrenaline. They had survived the night, but they knew that the unseen predator would forever haunt their memories. As they made their way back to civilization, they couldn't help but ponder the fragility of human perception and the terror of the unknown. The forest had shown them that even in the darkest corners of the world, there were mysteries beyond comprehension, waiting to be discovered or feared. The echoing howl. Twilight descended upon the misty, haunted forest, casting long, eerie shadows among the ancient trees. The air hung heavy with an unsettling silence, broken only by the distant cawing of crows. It was a place where darkness and mystery intertwined, and where the line between reality and nightmare blurred into a chilling tapestry of fear. Siblings Mia and Jake ventured into the heart of the forest, the evening mist enveloping them as they followed the winding path. Their flashlights pierced the gloom, illuminating the gnarled roots that seemed to reach out like skeletal fingers. They were on a quest to uncover the secrets that had shrouded the forest for generations, a journey that would soon turn into a desperate fight for survival. As the forest swallowed them deeper, Mia felt an unease settle in her chest. The bond between siblings was strong, and they had always been each other's protectors. But the eerie atmosphere was starting to erode her sense of security. "Jake, do you feel that?" she whispered, her voice quivering with uncertainty. Jake nodded, his flashlight trembling in his hand. "Yeah, it's like the forest is watching us, Mia." The siblings quickened their pace, their steps echoing through the stillness. But as they ventured further, an eerie howl pierced the silence, sending a shiver down their spines. The sound was chilling, a lamentation that seemed to echo their deepest fears. "What was that?" Mia asked, her heart racing. Jake shook his head, his eyes darting nervously. "I don't know, but we need to keep moving." Unbeknownst to them, their decision to press forward had dire consequences. As they walked deeper into the forest's heart, they stumbled upon a moss-covered stone, and Jake tripped and fell. In the confusion, they became separated, and Mia's desperate calls for her brother went unanswered. Tears welled up in her eyes as she frantically scanned the mist-shrouded trees. But Jake was nowhere to be found. Panic threatened to consume her as she realized the forest had swallowed him whole. Meanwhile, Jake found himself in a different part of the forest, his flashlight flickering ominously. Fear gnawed at him as he tried to retrace his steps, but the fog had transformed the once familiar landscape into an unrecognizable labyrinth. As the siblings struggled to reunite, the chilling howls grew louder, closer, and more relentless, echoing through the haunted forest like a relentless specter of doom. They could feel the cryptid's presence, lurking just out of sight, driven by a relentless pursuit that sent shivers down their spines. In the depths of the forest, Mia encountered a mysterious woodsman named Ethan. He emerged from the shadows, his presence unsettling yet strangely comforting. He offered to help her find Jake, but there was something in his eyes, a darkness that hinted at secrets best left buried. "I saw your brother earlier," Ethan said, his voice soft and coaxing. "He's not far from here. I can lead you to him." Mia's relief was palpable, and she followed Ethan deeper into the forest. But as they walked, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The forest seemed to grow even darker around them, and the eerie howls continued to haunt her. Meanwhile, Jake encountered his own guide in the form of a shadowy figure, cloaked in mist and darkness. The figure whispered promises of safety and salvation, and Jake, desperate to escape the relentless pursuit of the cryptid, followed without question. As the siblings were led deeper into the forest, the chilling howls seemed to close in around them, surrounding them with a sense of impending doom. The mist thickened, obscuring their vision, and they felt as though they were trapped in a never-ending nightmare. Finally, Mia and Jake were reunited in the heart of the forest, their relief palpable. But their joy was short-lived as they realized the true nature of their guides. Ethan and the shadowy figure were not saviors, but malevolent forces with their own sinister motives. Ethan's eyes glinted with malice as he revealed his true intentions. "You see, I too have been pursued by the cryptid for years, and now, by offering you as bait, I can finally escape its grasp." The shadowy figure that had led Jake whispered malevolent promises of power and freedom, but in return, it demanded his soul. Desperation and fear gripped the siblings as they realized the depth of the betrayal. With no other options, they fled from their guides, plunging deeper into the haunted forest. The cryptid's howls grew more relentless, a symphony of terror that seemed to reverberate through the very trees themselves. It was closing in on them, its presence becoming suffocating. In a final, spine-tingling climax, Mia and Jake found themselves in a deadly game of hide-and-seek with the relentless cryptid. It stalked them through the mist, its grotesque form flickering in and out of existence, its eyes burning with malevolence. As they eluded its grasp time and again, they realized the truth. The cryptid was a manifestation of the darkness within the forest itself, a guardian and a harbinger of doom. With every ounce of strength and determination, Mia and Jake fought back against the relentless cryptid, refusing to become victims of the forest's darkness. They used their flashlights to illuminate its form, capturing images that would forever document their harrowing ordeal. In a final, heart-pounding showdown, they cornered the cryptid, its unearthly howls filling the air. With a blinding flash of light, they forced it to reveal its true form, a nightmarish fusion of human and beast. The cryptid howled in anguish, its power waning with the fading twilight. It thrashed and snarled, but Mia and Jake continued to shine their flashlights, refusing to be consumed by the darkness. And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the cryptid vanished into the mist, leaving behind an eerie calm. Mia and Jake collapsed to the forest floor, their hearts still pounding with adrenaline. They had survived the night, but the echoes of their harrowing ordeal would forever haunt their memories. As they made their way back to civilization, they couldn't help but ponder the fragility of human perception and the terror of the unknown. The forest had shown them that even in the darkest corners of the world, there were mysteries beyond comprehension, waiting to be discovered or feared. The eyes in the shadows. A moonlit night had draped the ancient forest in an ethereal glow, casting eerie silhouettes among the towering trees. Emily, a dedicated forest researcher with an insatiable curiosity, led the way, her flashlight cutting through the thick fog that hung like a shroud over the woods. Beside her, Mark, her skeptical colleague, trudged forward, his doubts about the cryptid sightings they were investigating masked by the darkness. Their journey had taken them deep into the heart of the forest, far from civilization's comforting embrace. Emily had been captivated by stories of cryptids, creatures whispered about in the quiet corners of the world, beyond the reach of human understanding. She had spent months researching these legends, and she was convinced that the evidence was here, waiting to be discovered. Mark, on the other hand, had agreed to accompany her more out of camaraderie than conviction. He had always been the voice of reason, the one to ground Emily's flights of fancy. But as they ventured further into the eerie woods, his skepticism waned, replaced by an unsettling unease. Emily, undeterred by Mark's growing discomfort, led the way with a determined stride. Her heart raced with excitement, every rustle of leaves or snap of twigs sending a thrill down her spine. She felt as though they were on the cusp of a groundbreaking discovery, and nothing could deter her. But the forest had other plans. As the night wore on, the fog thickened, creating a dense, otherworldly atmosphere. The trees seemed to close in around them, their ancient branches reaching out like spectral hands. It was then that they noticed it, pairs of glowing eyes peering at them from the shadows. Mark gasped, his flashlight trembling as he aimed it toward the eerie spectacle. Emily's heart skipped a beat as she caught sight of those unearthly orbs, an unnatural phosphorescent blue that pierced the darkness. "What are those?" Mark whispered, his voice laced with fear. Emily strained to see, her pulse quickening. "I don't know, but we need to find out." With cautious steps, they approached the source of the glowing eyes. As they drew closer, they realized the eyes belonged to a creature, a cryptid that had, until now, eluded their understanding. It crouched low to the ground, its body shrouded in darkness, with only those haunting eyes revealing its presence. As they observed the creature, it seemed to observe them in return, unblinking and enigmatic. They felt a palpable sense of being watched, scrutinized by an entity beyond their comprehension. Mark's unease grew as he whispered to Emily, "We need to get out of here. This is not what we signed up for." But Emily, fueled by curiosity and the thrill of discovery, couldn't tear her eyes away from the cryptid. "Just a little longer, Mark. We have to document this." Their hesitance was rewarded with a startling revelation. From the shadows, a solitary hermit emerged, his tattered clothes and wild hair creating an image of a man who had long abandoned the trappings of civilization. He approached them with an eerie calmness, his eyes filled with a strange mixture of wisdom and madness. Caleb, the hermit, introduced himself with a voice that seemed to resonate with the ancient secrets of the forest. He explained that he had spent a lifetime living among the trees, observing the cryptids and understanding their ways. "You've ventured into their territory," Caleb warned, his voice a low, haunting murmur. "The forest holds its own secrets, and those who trespass may never return." Emily was undeterred. She bombarded Caleb with questions, her excitement unbridled. She was eager to learn more about the cryptid they had encountered, to unravel the mysteries of the ancient forest. But Caleb's gaze was inscrutable, and he spoke in riddles, as if testing their resolve. He warned them of the consequences of disturbing the cryptid's domain, of the price they might pay for their curiosity. As the night deepened, Emily and Mark bid farewell to Caleb and ventured further into the forest, their determination undiminished. But their encounter with the cryptid had left a mark on them, a lingering sense of unease that was impossible to shake. As they walked deeper into the woods, they realized they were being pursued. The glowing eyes returned, haunting their every step, their malevolent presence growing closer with each passing moment. It was as if the cryptid had taken a personal interest in them, as if it had marked them as intruders in its realm. Panic gripped Emily and Mark as they realized the cryptid was closing in on them. They ran, branches and underbrush clawing at their clothes, their flashlights casting erratic beams of light that revealed glimpses of the relentless pursuer. With a sinking feeling, they realized they were hopelessly lost. The forest seemed to twist and turn around them, leading them further into the heart of darkness. As the cryptid's eerie howls echoed through the forest, Emily and Mark's fear deepened. They knew they needed help, and they turned back, retracing their steps in search of Caleb. They found him at the edge of a mist-shrouded clearing, his eyes filled with a haunting wisdom. He revealed the cryptid's secret. It was a guardian of the ancient forest, a creature born from myth and madness. It protected the woods from intruders, those who sought to unravel its mysteries. With Caleb's guidance, Emily and Mark devised a plan to confront the cryptid. Armed with their flashlights and the knowledge Caleb had shared, they lured the creature into the clearing, its glowing eyes burning with malevolence. In a final, chilling encounter, they forced the cryptid to reveal itself, its grotesque form flickering in and out of existence. With their flashlights trained on it, they captured images that defied belief. The cryptid howled in agony as the light disrupted its ability to remain hidden. It thrashed and snarled. But Emily and Mark continued to shine their flashlights, refusing to be consumed by the darkness. And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the cryptid vanished into the mist, leaving behind an eerie calm. Emily and Mark collapsed to the forest floor, their hearts still pounding with adrenaline. They had survived the night, but they knew that the cryptid's secrets would forever haunt their memories. As they made their way back to civilization, they couldn't help but ponder the consequences of trespassing on the cryptid's territory and the fear of the unknown. The forest had shown them that even in the darkest corners of the world, there were mysteries beyond comprehension, waiting to be discovered or feared. The haunting melody. The dark and ancient forest lay beneath a thick blanket of snow, its gnarled trees and frozen branches casting long, eerie shadows in the fading light. Lily, a talented musician in search of inspiration, ventured deeper into the heart of the forest, her violin case clutched tightly in her hand. Beside her, Daniel, her devoted husband, followed with unwavering support, though he couldn't shake the unease that gripped him. The snow crunching beneath their feet was the only sound that broke the eerie stillness. Lily had been drawn to this desolate forest, hoping to find the elusive spark that would ignite her creativity. The winter landscape, with its haunting beauty, seemed like the perfect backdrop for the haunting melody that she sought. As they ventured further, the air grew colder, and the world around them became hushed, as though the very forest was holding its breath. It was then that Lily stumbled upon an old, weathered music sheet half buried in the snow. The notes were intricate and unfamiliar, a melody that seemed to resonate with the very soul of the forest. "Look at this, Daniel," Lily exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement. "It's like the forest is gifting us its secrets." Daniel inspected the music sheet, his breath visible in the frigid air. "Are you sure it's a good idea to play this? It looks ancient." But Lily couldn't resist the pull of the melody. She raised her violin and began to play, her bow gliding across the strings with a haunting grace. The notes that emerged were like a siren's call, an enchanting melody that seemed to echo through the forest, captivating the very trees themselves. As the final note hung in the air, they heard it, a hauntingly beautiful tune, distant yet unmistakable. It was as though the forest had come to life, responding to Lily's music with its own mesmerizing song. They followed the enchanting melody through the snow-covered trees, their senses heightened by the haunting sounds that surrounded them. The world seemed to blur as they lost themselves in the music, their hearts filled with a sense of wonder and enchantment. But the forest held more secrets than they could have ever imagined. They stumbled upon the woodsman, a reclusive musician known to the forest's inhabitants. His eyes were filled with a tragic wisdom, and he spoke of the cryptid that thrived on music and emotion, a creature that had been awakened by Lily's melody. "The song stealer," the woodsman whispered, his voice heavy with sorrow. "It's drawn to music like a moth to a flame. It feeds on the emotions it evokes, and it will stop at nothing to possess the one who plays its tune." Lily and Daniel exchanged worried glances as they listened to the woodsman's tale. He had once been a brilliant musician himself, but the song stealer had taken everything from him, his music, his emotions, and the very essence of his soul. Desperation gnawed at them as they realized the danger they were in. The song stealer's haunting melody grew closer, its enchanting grasp reaching out to ensnare them. With the woodsman's guidance, they sought refuge in a hidden grove, shielded from the cryptid's relentless pursuit. But the song stealer's melody continued to echo in the distance, a haunting reminder of the danger that lurked beyond. As they waited, the woodsman shared his tragic history, revealing the sacrifices he had made for his art and the toll it had taken on his soul. He had spent years studying the cryptid's behavior, learning its secrets, and searching for a way to free himself from its grasp. But the song stealer was a formidable adversary, an entity born from music and emotion, and it would not be easily defeated. As night fell, the enchanting melody drew closer, its haunting beauty becoming impossible to resist. Lily's fingers itched to play her violin once more, to succumb to the allure of the cryptid's song. But Daniel and the woodsman knew the danger they faced. They pleaded with Lily to resist, to break free from the enchantment that threatened to consume her. In a climactic battle of emotions, Lily fought against the irresistible pull of the songstealer's melody. Tears streamed down her face as she grappled with the haunting music that threatened to ensnare her soul. With the strength of her love for Daniel and the guidance of the woodsman, Lily managed to resist the cryptid's enchantment. The haunting melody faded into the distance, leaving them breathless but victorious. As dawn broke over the snow-covered forest, they knew they had narrowly escaped the clutches of the songstealer. With the woodsman's help, they buried the ancient music sheet, hoping to seal away the cryptid's power forever. As they made their way back to civilization, Lily couldn't help but ponder the power of music to enchant and ensnare. She had witnessed firsthand the dangers that lay within the haunting melodies of the world, and she vowed to use her music to inspire rather than to possess. The forest had shown them that even in the darkest corners of the world, there were mysteries beyond comprehension, waiting to be discovered or feared, and they had emerged from the enchanted woods with a newfound appreciation for the fragile balance between art and obsession. The Lost Expedition. The fog clung to the cursed forest like a shroud, obscuring the path ahead and muffling all sound. Dr. Harper, a fearless cryptid enthusiast, led a team of explorers into the heart of this enigmatic place. Among them was Marcus, a skeptical historian who had reluctantly agreed to join the expedition, and Alara, a mysterious forest guide with an uncanny connection to the unknown. The forest exuded an eerie silence that was both unsettling and profound. Dr. Harper had long heard tales of a legendary cryptid rumored to reside deep within these woods, a creature said to possess the power to transcend time and space. It was an expedition fraught with danger, but the allure of uncovering such a mystery was too powerful to resist. As they ventured further into the cursed forest, they stumbled upon ancient artifacts, relics of a forgotten time. The trees themselves seemed to twist and warp, their branches contorted into unnatural shapes, as if the very fabric of reality was being bent to the will of the forest. Marcus, the historian, examined the artifacts with growing fascination. They were unlike anything he had ever encountered in his studies, relics from civilizations long lost to time. It was as though the forest itself held the secrets of countless ages, waiting to be discovered by those who dared to enter. But the forest held more than just artifacts. It held the whispers of forgotten souls and the echoes of long-lost civilization. It whispered secrets and temptations, luring the explorers further into its depths. As the days turned to weeks, the expedition's sense of time began to blur. They found themselves caught in a nightmarish loop, unable to escape the relentless grasp of the forest. Each day felt like an eternity, and each night brought terrifying visions that left them questioning their sanity. Alara, the forest guide, seemed to possess an unnatural knowledge of the forest's mysteries. She spoke of the cryptid, the creature they sought, and its power to manipulate time. She had a connection to the unknown that both fascinated and frightened the team. As the expedition descended further into madness, the forest seemed to respond in kind. Time itself began to warp and bend. As days turned into hours and hours into seconds, reality fractured, and the explorers found themselves confronting their own pasts, their regrets, their fears, and their deepest desires. Dr. Harper, driven by an unyielding obsession, continued to press forward, determined to find the cryptid at any cost. Marcus, the historian, struggled to reconcile his skepticism with the surreal horrors unfolding before him. Alara, the forest guide, remained an enigmatic presence, her connection to the cryptid growing stronger with each passing day. But the forest had more in store for them than they could have ever imagined. One fateful night, as the team huddled around a campfire, the cryptid revealed itself. It emerged from the shadows, a grotesque fusion of human and beast, its eyes burning with an otherworldly intelligence. The creature's voice echoed through their minds, a dissonant melody that sent shivers down their spine. It spoke of the consequences of tampering with the fabric of reality, of the fleeting nature of time, and of the price they would pay for their curiosity. As the cryptid's power grew, the expedition's sense of self began to unravel. Memories and nightmares merged into a surreal tapestry, blurring the line between past and present. Each member of the team confronted their own demons, their darkest fears manifesting before them. Dr. Harper, consumed by his obsession, faced a nightmarish version of the cryptid, a grotesque reflection of his own desires. Marcus, the historian, was confronted by the ghosts of his past, reliving his regrets and mistakes with agonizing clarity. Alara, the forest guide, grappled with her connection to the cryptid, a bond that threatened to consume her. As the cryptid's influence grew stronger, the team's grasp on reality slipped further away. Time itself seemed to fracture, and the forest became an ever-shifting labyrinth of nightmares and illusions. In a mind-bending confrontation with the cryptid, the explorers fought to break free from its enchanting grasp. Reality warped and twisted around them as they grappled with the creature's power. With a final, desperate act, Alara tapped into her mysterious connection to the cryptid, harnessing its power to unravel the forest's illusion. The cryptid's own desires were turned against it, and it vanished into the fractured reality from which it had emerged. The team emerged from the cursed forest, their minds scarred by the horrors they had witnessed. They had escaped the clutches of the cryptid, but the experience had left them forever changed. As they made their way back to civilization, they couldn't help but ponder the consequences of tampering with the fabric of reality and the fleeting nature of time. The forest had shown them that even in the darkest corners of the world, there were mysteries beyond comprehension, waiting to be discovered or feared. The Silent Stalker. The dark forest lay before them, shrouded in an oppressive silence that seemed to defy the very laws of nature. Tom, a seasoned hunter with years of experience in the wilderness, led the way. Beside him, his daughter Rachel, a skeptic by nature, had reluctantly agreed to accompany him on this expedition. And then there was Sleepless, a mysterious recluse known to possess knowledge of the forest's secrets. As they ventured deeper into the eerie woods, Tom couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The silence that enveloped them was unlike anything he had ever encountered. There were no bird calls, no rustling leaves, no sounds of life, just an unnatural stillness that seemed to stretch on forever. Rachel, her skepticism giving way to unease, whispered to her father, "Dad, have you ever seen anything like this before?" Tom shook his head, his keen senses on high alert. "No, Rachel, this isn't right. We need to be cautious." Their footsteps on the forest floor were the only sounds that broke the eerie quiet. Tom had come to the forest to hunt, to track elusive prey, but now he couldn't shake the feeling that they were the ones being hunted. As they pressed forward, the silence deepened, the forest's oppressive stillness bearing down on them like a heavy weight. Tom's instincts told him that something was lurking in the shadows, something that thrived in this unnatural quiet. And then they saw it, a cryptid, a creature born of the forest's silence. It moved with a stealth that was impossible to comprehend, its form flickering in and out of sight as it stalked them from the shadows. Tom raised his rifle, but before he could take a shot, Sleepless intervened. "Wait," he whispered urgently, his eyes locked on the cryptid. "This is the Silent Stalker, and it hunts in silence. Any noise we make will only draw it closer." Rachel's eyes widened with fear as she watched the cryptid's unnatural movements. "What do we do, Dad?" Sleepless's knowledge of the forest's secrets proved invaluable. He explained that the Silent Stalker had been drawn to their presence, lured by the disruption of the natural order. It was a creature born of silence, a guardian of the forest's tranquility, and it would stop at nothing to restore the quiet. As they continued to evade the Silent Stalker, Sleepless shared his own dark past. He had once sought to tame the forest, to harness its secrets for his own gain. But the Silent Stalker had exacted a terrible price for his arrogance, taking away his voice as punishment for disrupting the forest's natural order. Now, Sleepless possessed a deep understanding of the forest's secrets, and he had dedicated his life to preserving its silence. With the cryptid's relentless pursuit, the team's sense of fear and vulnerability deepened. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves, threatened to draw the Silent Stalker closer. They had to rely on Sleepless's guidance and their own intuition to outwit the creature. As night fell and the forest grew even darker, they realized that they were running out of time. The Silent Stalker was closing in, its presence a haunting reminder of their intrusion into the forest's sacred silence. In a high-stakes showdown, the team confronted the Silent Stalker, using their wits and Sleepless's knowledge to outmaneuver the creature. They moved with deliberate care, every step calculated to avoid making a sound. The cryptid's eyes burned with an otherworldly intelligence as it circled them, its movements fluid and graceful. It was a creature born of the silence, a guardian of the forest's tranquility, and it would stop at nothing to restore the quiet. With a final, daring maneuver, they managed to draw the Silent Stalker away from their campsite. Sleepless's voiceless cry echoed through the forest as he sacrificed himself to lead the cryptid away from Tom and Rachel. As they watched in horror, the forest swallowed Sleepless and the Silent Stalker, their forms vanishing into the darkness. The silence that had weighed so heavily on them began to dissipate, replaced by the sounds of life returning to the woods. Tom and Rachel emerged from the forest, their hearts heavy with grief for their lost companion. They had escaped the Silent Stalker, but the experience had left them forever changed. As they made their way back to civilization, they couldn't help but ponder the power of silence and the consequences of disrupting the natural order. The forest had shown them that even in the darkest corners of the world, there were mysteries beyond comprehension, waiting to be discovered or feared. The phantom fog. The forest lay shrouded in an impenetrable mist, a ghostly veil that seemed to blur the boundaries between reality and illusion. Alex, an amateur paranormal investigator, and Kate, a skeptical journalist with a fascination for the unknown, had ventured deep into this fog-covered wilderness. They had come in search of answers to a series of strange disappearances tied to a cryptid that could manipulate the very fog that surrounded them. As they made their way through the dense fog, their flashlights casting weak beams that barely pierced the mist, Alex's sense of unease grew with each step. The forest seemed to breathe around them, its ghostly apparitions shifting and swirling like wraiths in the night. Kate, her skepticism slowly giving way to unease, whispered to Alex, "This place, it doesn't feel right." Alex nodded, his voice hushed. "I know, Kate, but we have to find out what's causing these disappearances." The fog thickened around them, creating an eerie, disorienting atmosphere. The forest sounds were muffled, as if the very air had been sucked out of the world. They were enveloped in an unnatural silence that seemed to stretch on forever. As they continued deeper into the forest, the apparitions grew more pronounced. Shadows danced in the mist, taking on shapes that defied explanation. Alex had read about the cryptid they were searching for, a creature that could manipulate the fog to create illusions, to draw its prey deeper into its grasp. It was then that they encountered the Fog Walker, a mysterious figure who appeared out of the mist like a specter. His eyes held a haunted wisdom, and his voice was filled with a cryptic warning. "You should not have come here," the Fog Walker whispered, his voice barely audible over the eerie silence. "The fog conceals more than you can imagine." Alex and Kate exchanged worried glances. They had heard rumors of the Fog Walker, a guardian of the forest who knew its secrets, but they had never expected to encounter him. He spoke of the cryptid that manipulated the fog, a creature that thrived on deception and illusion. But they were determined to uncover the truth, to shed light on the mysteries that surrounded them. With the Fog Walker's guidance, they continued to navigate the haunted forest, their senses on high alert. The cryptid's illusions grew more elaborate, as if it sought to ensnare them in a web of unreality. They saw visions of loved ones calling out to them from the mist, beckoning them to join them in the fog. But Alex and Kate knew that these apparitions were tricks of the cryptid, designed to lure them deeper into the forest's heart. As they pressed on, the cryptid's power over the fog became more pronounced. They saw phantoms of long-forgotten landscapes, entire worlds that seemed to exist only in the mists of the forest. Reality and illusion blurred, and they struggled to discern what was real from what was a product of the cryptid's manipulation. The Fog Walker continued to guide them, offering cryptic advice and warnings. He spoke of the thin line between reality and illusion, of the consequences of meddling with the supernatural. He urged them to turn back, to abandon their quest for answers. But Alex and Kate were determined to confront the cryptid, to uncover the truth behind the disappearances that had brought them here. In a climactic battle with the cryptid, they faced the full extent of its power. It manipulated the fog to create a nightmarish labyrinth of illusions, forcing them to confront their deepest fears and regrets. But with the Fog Walker's guidance and their unwavering determination, they managed to break free from the cryptid's illusions. They confronted the creature in a final, high-stakes showdown, their flashlights cutting through the fog to reveal its grotesque form. The cryptid fought back with all its power, manipulating the fog to create a tempest of illusions. But Alex and Kate held their ground, their determination unwavering. With a final, desperate effort, they exposed the cryptid's true nature, breaking its hold on the fog. As the mist began to dissipate, the cryptid let out a haunting wail, its power undone. It vanished into the fog, leaving behind a sense of eerie calm. Alex and Kate emerged from the haunted forest, their hearts heavy with the weight of the mysteries they had encountered. The Fog Walker had disappeared into the mist, his cryptic warnings echoing in their minds. As they made their way back to civilization, they couldn't help but ponder the thin line between reality and illusion, and the consequences of meddling with the supernatural. The forest had shown them that even in the darkest corners of the world, there were mysteries beyond comprehension, waiting to be discovered or feared. The Curse of the Blood Moon. The forest lay cloaked in darkness, the towering trees looming like ancient sentinels beneath a rare blood moon. Alex, a historian with an insatiable obsession for legends, had dragged Emily, his skeptical partner, into this eerie wilderness. They had journeyed here to uncover the truth behind a curse tied to a cryptid that thrived under the ominous glow of the lunar phenomenon. As they ventured deeper into the shadowy woods, the forest seemed to close in around them as if it were breathing. Alex was undeterred by the ominous atmosphere. He believed that the answers to the curse lay hidden within these haunted woods. Emily, on the other hand, had reservations. "Alex, this place gives me the creeps. Are you sure we should be here?" He nodded, his determination unwavering. "We're close, Emily, I can feel it." The blood moon cast an eerie, crimson hue over the landscape, its ominous glow intensifying with each step they took. Alex had spent years researching the cryptid said to be tied to this lunar curse, a creature that hunted under the blood moon's malevolent light, exacting vengeance upon those who dared to trespass in its domain. And then they found her, Cassandra, a reclusive occultist who had lived in the forest for decades. She possessed the knowledge they sought, but her eyes held the weight of ancient secrets. "You seek to break the curse," Cassandra whispered, her voice like a soft, haunting breeze. "But the price is steep, and the consequences dire." Alex and Emily listened with bated breath as Cassandra explained the cryptid's connection to the lunar cycle. She spoke of its insatiable hunger for revenge, its power to manipulate the blood moon's energy, and the dark rituals needed to break the curse. But Cassandra warned them that breaking the curse came at a grave cost. It required a blood offering, a life sacrifice to the cryptid to appease its vengeful spirit. The thought of such a sacrifice chilled Alex to the bone, but he was willing to pay any price to uncover the truth. The blood moon's ominous glow intensified, casting long, shadowy fingers through the forest. They knew that time was running out. The cryptid's attacks were tied to the lunar cycle, and they were now at the peak of its power. As the blood moon reached its zenith, the cryptid's presence became palpable. It stalked them through the darkness, its malevolent eyes glowing like crimson embers in the night. The forest itself seemed to come alive, its trees shifting and contorting as if they were guardians of a terrible secret. Cassandra guided them through a series of dark rituals, each one designed to weaken the cryptid's hold on the curse. But with each step, the price of their actions became more evident. The cryptid's attacks grew more relentless, its hunger for revenge insatiable. It toyed with them in the shadows, appearing as fleeting glimpses of terror before disappearing into the night. Emily's skepticism had long since turned into fear as the reality of their situation set in. And then came the final ritual, the blood offering. Alex was prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice to break the curse, but Cassandra had warned him that the cryptid's appetite for vengeance knew no bounds. As he prepared to offer his own blood, the cryptid descended upon them, its presence a tangible force of malevolence. It circled them like a predator, its eyes filled with an ancient hatred. Emily's voice trembled as she whispered to Alex, "Are you sure about this?" He nodded, his voice resolute. "We have to break the curse, Emily, no matter the cost." With a deep breath, Alex made the offering, his blood seeping into the earth. The forest seemed to hold its breath, the world around them growing eerily still. And then it happened, the curse was broken. The blood moon's ominous glow began to recede, its crimson light fading into the night. The cryptid let out a haunting wail, its power undone. But as the curse was lifted, the forest exacted its price. It came alive with a vengeance, its ancient trees contorting and shifting, their branches reaching out like gnarled fingers. Cassandra, in a final act of sacrifice, offered herself to the forest, becoming one with the ancient trees. She whispered her final words to Alex and Emily, her voice a haunting refrain in the night. With the curse broken, they emerged from the haunted forest, their hearts heavy with the weight of the price they had paid. The blood moon had revealed its secrets, but it had also exacted its toll. As they made their way back to civilization, they couldn't help but ponder the allure of forbidden knowledge and the price of breaking ancient curses. The forest had shown them that even in the darkest corners of the world, there were mysteries beyond comprehension, waiting to be discovered or feared. The guardian of the woods. The tranquil forest stretched out before them, a sanctuary of towering trees and lush undergrowth that seemed untouched by time. Sarah, a dedicated botanist, had brought her nature-loving son, Ethan, to this magical place to share the wonders of the natural world. Little did they know that the forest was guarded by a benevolent cryptid guardian known as Eliana. As they ventured deeper into the woods, Sarah's heart swelled with appreciation for the vibrant tapestry of life that surrounded them. Ethan's eyes shone with wonder as he examined the intricacies of the forest's flora and fauna. It was a place that felt like a hidden paradise, a world teeming with beauty and magic. And then, amidst the ancient trees and dappled sunlight, they discovered Eliana. The guardian spirit appeared before them as a gentle, ethereal presence, her form a shimmering mirage of nature's splendor. Eliana's eyes radiated kindness, and her voice was like the soft rustling of leaves in the wind. "You have come to the heart of the forest," Eliana spoke, her voice carrying the wisdom of centuries. "I am its guardian, and I watch over all that dwell here." Sarah and Ethan listened in awe as Eliana explained her role as protector of the woods. She spoke of the delicate balance of nature, the interconnectedness of all living things, and the importance of preserving the forest's beauty and magic. Ethan's eyes widened with excitement. "Can we help you protect the forest, Eliana?" Eliana smiled, her presence radiating warmth. "Yes, young one, your love for the natural world is a gift. Together, we shall ensure that the forest remains a haven for all creatures." As the days passed, Sarah, Ethan, and Eliana formed a bond as strong as the ancient trees that surrounded them. They learned from Eliana the secrets of the forest, the songs of the birds, the whispers of the wind, and the hidden language of the plants. It was a world of enchantment and wonder, and Ethan's passion for nature deepened with each passing day. But the forest's serenity was not to last. Dark forces threatened the woods, driven by greed and disregard for the delicate balance of nature. Loggers encroached upon the forest, their chainsaws echoing like thunder through the once tranquil woods. Eliana, the guardian spirit, sensed the danger. She urged Sarah and Ethan to take action, to protect the forest they had come to love. Together, they set out to thwart the destructive forces and preserve the magic of the woods. Their journey was fraught with danger as they confronted the loggers, pleading with them to spare the forest. But their pleas fell on deaf ears, and the loggers continued their relentless assault on the ancient trees. In the heart of the forest, a heartwarming climax of protection and preservation unfolded. Eliana, the guardian spirit, called upon the magic of the woods to protect their beloved home. The very trees and creatures of the forest rose up in defense, their presence an awe-inspiring force of nature. With the power of the forest behind them, Sarah, Ethan, and Eliana confronted the loggers in a heart-pounding showdown. The loggers were no match for the guardian spirit's magic and the unwavering determination of Sarah and Ethan. As the loggers retreated, defeated and humbled, Eliana's presence filled the forest with a sense of triumph and renewal. The ancient trees stood tall and proud, their branches reaching out in gratitude. Ethan turned to Eliana, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Eliana, for showing us the true magic of the forest." Eliana smiled, her form shimmering with the beauty of the woods. "Remember, young one, that the bonds between humans and the natural world are sacred. With love and respect, we can ensure that the forest's beauty and magic endure for generations to come." Sarah and Ethan left the forest with their hearts full of hope and a deep commitment to preserving nature. They knew that the guardian spirit, Eliana, would watch over the woods, and they vowed to be stewards of the natural world, protecting its beauty and magic for all to enjoy. As they made their way back to civilization, they couldn't help but ponder the importance of preserving nature and the profound bonds between humans and the natural world. The forest had shown them that even in the darkest corners of the world, there was magic to be found and protected, a reminder of the interconnectedness of all life on Earth.